Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. Now, no guest this week, just me, but another fabulous fortnight of athletics, including the Paris and Eugene Diamond League meets, and also the third best ever in the 100 meters, a windy mark in Eisenstadt, great performances in Zagreb, and at the inaugural Pan American Championships. So let's cut straight to the action, starting with the Diamond League, 28 June, Meeting de Paris, Paris, and what a fabulous night of athletics. 4 world leads, 3 Diamond League records, and 2 Oceania records were set in Charletti Stadium. With such an excellent set of performances, Paris totaled 95,480 points and shot to the top of the World Athletics Competition Performance Rankings for 2026. Now, with so many top marks, it's not easy to choose the best, but among the men, it had to be 400 meters, where Botswana's world champion Colin Kebinachippi unleashed his trademark sprint finish to speed away from South Africa's Zakiti Nene and close in 43.54, just 100th off his PB set in Tokyo last September. Nene also dipped well under 44 seconds with 43.89, his second best career mark. And behind the two, the USA's Chris Bailey and Britain's Matthew Hudson-Smith finished very close to the 44 barrier with 44.06 and 44.09 respectively. So that was clearly the best 400-meter race of the year. Technically, however, the best performance came from Mondo Duplantis, who soared to 6 meters 13, best outdoor mark of 2026, to prove that his defeat in Stockholm was just a glitch, as his mind was focused on his upcoming marriage. In the high hurdles, the USA's Jamal Britt took a big chunk off his PB, lowering it to an excellent 12.89 to become the number 8 performer of all time. And behind the American, Japan's Shunsuke Izumiya clocked 13.02, ahead of Trey Cunningham 13.07 in the final after running 13.06 in the heats into a 0.8 headwind. Middle distance races were also excellent. In the 800 meters, Canada's 2023 world champion Marco Arop shot to a world lead of 141.84, a mark made even more special, as he said afterwards, he was still kind of recovering from an injury. And he closed almost 2 seconds ahead of the Netherlands' Niels Laros with 143.60. 1500 meters was also a great race and rather more competitive, though Australia's Cameron Myers was in a class of his own, finishing in 3 minutes 28 flat to move to number 12 of all time. Behind him, there were excellent sub-30 marks by France's Azzedine Habs, 329.80, and Britain's 22 world champion Jake Whiteman, 329.95, and more excellent performances behind them. Myers' mark was an Oceania record, improving the 329.41 by Oliver Hoare in 2023. And finally, though the race did not produce performances among the very best results, the 100 meters was also interesting, as Trayvon Bromell recorded his best regular mark this season, defeating Noah Lyles 9.91 to 9.92. And I must say, I really appreciate Bromell's measured declarations in the mix zone, though I also like Noah Lyles' exuberance. Among the women, the very best performances came for Switzerland Audrey Werro, who further improved her world lead and number 3 in the all-time list to 1:53.80 to become the first woman to ever run 2 sub-154 races at the distance. Werro credits the fact that she has completed her studies and can now focus exclusively on her running career for her strong improvements in 2026. The race was the best among the women, with a thrilling battle for the runner-up spot, with Femke Broeders-Bol just holding off France's Anaïs Bourdin, 1:55.60 to 1:55.65. Big improvement for the Dutch star, just 600ths off the national record by Ellen van Langen, which had earned her gold at the Barcelona Olympics, and a big national record for Bourgoin, bettering the 1995 mark by Patricia Jaté, who rushed to hug and congratulate her in the mix zone. Further behind, Australia's Sarah Billings improved the Oceania record to 1:57.01, shaving 1400ths off the mark set in the Tokyo semifinals last year by her compatriot Jessica Hull. In all, the race saw 3 national records and 4 PBs, with all 10 finishers closing below 1:59, confirming the feeling that the women's 800 meters is set for a major shakeup this year. The other highlight was the 400 meters, where Dominican Republic's Mary Lady Paulino sped to a sizzling 48.48, her third best ever, as the 24 Olympic and 23 world champion gets into gear in her second Diamond League meeting of 26. Paulino's mark was also one of the 3 Diamond League records of the evening, along with the performances by Werro and Kebinat-Shipi. Finally, among the women, there was also a second straight Diamond League win for Nigeria's Tobia Musan, but the world record holder declared that she was tired of 12.28 after her third clocking on her 2026 seasonal best. In the 1500 meters, Britain's Georgia Hunter-Bell, always a great competitor, held off double world indoor champion Freweni Hailu in the last 50 meters to sign her best career result, one of her best career results, 1:55.63 to 1:55.92 for the Ethiopian. And it's really interesting that the British reigning 1500 meter world champion had taken time before her own race to come out and watch the 800 meters. Hunter-Bell had not yet decided which races she will contest at the European Championships and Commonwealth Games, but if she opts for the European, that could be a fantastic race. Less than a week later, across the Atlantic, Prefontaine Classic was held in Eugene on 3 and 4 July. A total of 4 world leads were set in Eugene, 2 in the men's shot put and hammer, while the 2 women's world leads and the mile and 2 miles were not top level, especially the rarely contested 2 miles. The pre-classic totaled a score of 96,775 points in the World Athletics Competition Performance Ranking, overtaking the Meeting de Paris to top the Invitational Open category. Now, among the men, one of the big themes of the meet was the clash between student athletes and the pros. In the very best event, the 110 hurdles, that battle was won by the pro, as Jamal Britt took another 0.03 of a second off his Paris PB, improving to 12.86. Britt caught world record holder Jacoby Tharp in the last 20 meters, while the NCAA champion clocked 12.91 in his first race as a pro, after foregoing the remainder of his NCAA eligibility. In the sprints, though, it was another story, as student athletes defeated world and Olympic champions. First, in the 100 meters, not a Diamond League event, but a race which included sprint royalty, Nigeria's NCAA champion Kayinsola Ajayi took a spectacular win in 9.84, equaling his PB, to defeat reigning 100-meter world champion Oblique Sevi, who clocked 9.89, 2019 world champion Christian Coleman, 9.95, and double Olympic and world 200-meter champion Kenny Bednarek with 9.96. And towards the end of the program, the 200 meters saw an even bigger upset as the U.S. Under 20 champion Tate Taylor, who only turns 19 in September, improved his recent PB from 19.94 to 19.75 and into a headwind of minus 0.9 meters per second. So that was a clear victory over Botswana's Olympic champion Letsile Tebogo in 19.93. The San Antonio sprinter, who had been included in the race after the withdrawal of World Under-20 record holder Gout some 10 days before, seized his chance and climbed to number 3 in the Under-20 all-time list. The elated high school student could not contain his enthusiasm after the race, declaring, it sounds incredible. I just can't really believe it. All the glory to God. I was expecting a PR, maybe 19.89 to be honest, but after seeing 19.7, I was like, man, that's just crazy ridiculous. So the pros have been warned. The new generation of sprinters is talented and hungry and more than ready for the challenge. Another young athlete, 20-year-old Cameron Myers, was victorious in the Bowerman Mile in 3:46.06 over a star-studded field, including 1,500-meter Olympic bronze medalist Yared Nuguse, who was runner-up in 3:46.61, Olympic champion Cole Hawker, who was 6th, and 2019 world champion Timothy Cheruiyot in 5th. Myers improved his second area record in 6 days after the 1,500-meter in Paris, taking 1.5 seconds off the previous continental best, also set by compatriot Oliver Hoare in 2022. Now, the throws saw excellent results, and this time with no major surprises. Italy's Leo Fabri won the shot put with a massive 22.74 meters world lead, ahead of Jamaica's Rajendra Campbell, 22.16, who had defeated him 2 weeks earlier. In the discus, Lithuania's Mykolas Alekna, who only started competing again in mid-June after undergoing surgery in March for a fully torn pectoral muscle, signed a huge fifth round throw of 71 meters 06 to overtake Slovenia's ever-consistent Christian Se with 69.94. Among the women, the very best event was a 3,000-meter steeplechase, as Kenya's reigning world champion Faith Cherotich, who had been struggling with injury, won her first Diamond League meet of 2026 in a race of great depth, clocking an excellent 8:51.74, ahead of 2024 Olympic champion Winfred Yavi, 8:52.84, and Marwa Buzrayani, who was 4th in Tokyo last September. The Tunisian continued her great progression this year, taking 3.5 seconds off her PB from Xiamen to clock an excellent 8:54.32 and move to number 7 in the all-time list. In the 100 hurdles, reigning Olympic champion Masai Russell, who hasn't lost a hurdles race this season, continued her domination with another excellent performance, 12.24 over world record holder Tobia Musan in 12.34. The 100 flat saw a close battle in the final as double world champion Melissa Jefferson Wooden in 10.78, edged past 2023 100-meter world champion Sha'Carri Richardson with 10.79, who continues her return to top four, as the young lady who leads both the 100 and 200 meter seasonal lists, 200 meters NCAA champion Adaja Hodge surged in the finale to clock 10.80 in her Diamond League debut. And the long jump finally saw a competition with two ladies jumping over 7 meters 10. Victory went to Olympic and world champion Tara Davis Woodhull with 7 meters 13 and a second best jump of 7 meters 12, in spite of declaring after the competition that she had not even wanted to be in Eugene, as she is currently struggling with depression and anxiety. It's a wonderful athlete and human being who is open about her struggles. So huge respect for Tara. World indoor silver medalist Larissa Iapichino was second in 7 meters 12, adding 1 centimeter to the Italian record set by her mother, Fiona May, in 1998. Now, elsewhere in Eugene, there were unexpected losses by great stars of the sport, but both had physical problems. Triple Olympic and quadruple 1,500-meter world champion Faith Kipyegon, who later informed that she had been dealing with a hamstring injury since mid-May, suffered her first ever defeat in the mile, coming third in a slow race won by Nikki Hills. In the 800 meters, Kenya's world champion Lilian Odira inflicted another loss on world indoor record holder Keely Hodgkinson, passing her in the last 40 meters. But the Brit had suffered a bad fall in training just days before the race and had competed with taped up knees. So best wishes for a full, speedy recovery to both these ladies. Now, in other competitions, let's take a look at European meetings. First of all, the Boris Hansekovic Memorial in Zagreb, Croatia, held from 24 to 26 June, because some throws and jumps were held as city events. There were very good results, starting with Jamaican shot putter Rajendra Campbell, the Paris Olympic bronze medalist, who had won the event with 22.44 national record to break the win streak by Italy's Leo Fabri, 22.21 for the Italian. In the 110 hurdles, the USA's Jamal Britt had dipped under 13 seconds for the second time this summer with 12.98. But of course, much better marks were to come days later. Slovenia's 2022 World Discus Champion Christian Se had taken another victory with an excellent 17 meters 32, confirming his status as the best thrower outside the special conditions in Ramona. Among the women, there had been one truly excellent result, and it came from Dominica's triple jumper, Thea Lafond, who soared to 15 meters 25, adding 23 centimeters to the national record she had set when winning gold at the Paris Olympics. Almost 2 years later, Lafond is back over 15 meters, and hopefully with Cuba's Davisleidi Velasco having already jumped 15.13 in Doha, the event can witness more top performances this summer. And finally, I'd like to mention Polish hammer thrower Paweł Fajdek, who aged 37, heaved his implement to 81 meters 89. It was the longest throw in 4 years for the man who won 5 consecutive world championships between 2013 and 2022. So great to see Paweł back in great shape. Over the weekend, 27 to 28 June, the Ratingen combined events meet took place in Germany. Swiss heptathlete Annick Kaelin dominated the competition to take her second victory in 4 weeks after Götzis, improving her PB to 6,819 points. The men's event was not as good, as Germany's world champion Leo Neugebauer won with 8,573 points. And finally, on July 1st in Raiffeisen Austrian Open in Eisenstadt, there was a fantastic return to form for Italy's Tokyo Olympic champion, Marcell Jacobs, who clocked a super fast, albeit windy, 9.67 with a 4.1 meters per second tailwind. Now, only His Majesty Usain Bolt has ever run faster, with 2 regular marks, his 9.58 world record and 9.63. So after an encouraging 9.96 in Paris and a fast but slightly windy 9.84 with 2.3 tailwind in the heats in Eisenstadt, it looks like Jacobs may be back among the very best sprinters. Now, there was another really interesting competition, 26 to 28 June, Pan American Athletics Championships in Medellin, Colombia. Excellent marks at the inaugural event by interesting athletes who are in their early 20s. The most impressive result was an outstanding 100-meter final, won by Colombia's Ronald Longa, 4 days shy of his 22nd birthday, in 9.85 over Canada's Eliezer Adjibi, 9.92, and Puerto Rico's Eloy Benitez, 9.98. Longa had first broken 10 seconds in 2023 as an under-20 athlete, and then improved his PB to 9.96 in May last year. His 9.85 not only makes him the 3rd fastest man in 2026 ahead of Noah Lyles, but is also the South American record, taking a huge 0.8 seconds off the previous continental best set by Brazil's Eric Cardoso in July 2025. Longa already had 3 continental silver medals to his name, always behind Brazilian athletes, but that changed in Medellin as he shot to the top of the South American rankings with a world-class mark. The 200 meters also saw an excellent performance as Puerto Rico's José Figueroa clocked 9.87 for a resounding victory, far ahead of runner-up Alexis Nieves of Venezuela with 20.34. The marks makes Figueroa, who turns 22 in September, was then equal 7th fastest of 2026, ahead of stars like Noah Lyles and Brian Lavelle. Also to note, the 400-meter hurdles victory by Dominican Republic's Yeral Nunes with 48.20, which ranks him number 13 this season. And there was also a very good performance among the women, as Cuba's Daily Cooper Gaspar ran the 800 in 1:56.10, moving to number 6 on the season's lists and adding a new name to the ladies set to shake up the event this year. So that concludes our review of the top athletics action of the past fortnight. It's time to go back to the global overview of our sport and check out all the best results since the last show, starting with the senior men's events. And we'll continue to add in brackets marks which are regular, which are listed on the respected Tila Stopaya website, but which do not appear on the World Athletics list. So among the men, 100 meters, we said 9.84 for Kayinsola Ajay in Eugene, 9.85 for Ronald Longa in Medellin. Those are worth 1,262 and 1,259 points respectively. Oblique Sevilla was second in Eugene and 9.89. Then we have the 9.91 by Trayvon Bromell in Paris, 9.92 by Eliezer Ajibi in Medellin, runner-up, 9.93, for Noah Lyles, 9.92 for Noah Lyles in Paris. 100 meters, so as we said, windy but very fast, 9.67 for Marcell Jacobs in Eisenstadt. That's he is the number 2 of all time in any wind conditions. Behind him, Romel Gleave 9.76 and Wade van Niekerk 9.83. And in the heats, Jacobs had run in 9.84 and Gleave in 9.88. 200 meters, sensational mark of 19.75 into a 0.9 headwind by under 20 US athlete Tate Taylor in Eugene. As we said, number 3 on the under 20 all-time list, but also excellent 19.87 for Jose Figueroa of Puerto Rico in Medellin. And behind Taylor, Letsile Tebogo was second in Eugene with 19.93. 400 meters, fabulous 43.54 for Busang Colin Kebinatshipi in Paris. That's worth a whopping 1,283 points. Behind him, 43.89 for Zakithi Nene. And Kebinatshipi, another great mark, 44 flat in Eugene. And Chris Bailey and Matthew Hudson-Smith, just over 44 flat in Paris. And very interesting, Rai Benjamin was the runner-up in Eugene in 44.11, while Muzala Samukonga had clocked 44.29 in Paris. 800 meters, we'd mentioned the excellent 141.84 by Canada's Marco Arop in Paris. 1,500 meters, that was not a Diamond League event in Paris, but it was very, very good. 3:28 for Cameron Myers, area record, moves to number 12 of all time. 3:29.80 for Azzedine Habs. 3:29.95 for Jake Whiteman. 3:30.17 for Anas Essayi of Morocco. 3:30.28 for Reynold Cherouillot. And 3:30.31 for Anas Lagti Choudar of France. All very, very good marks. In the mile, as we saw, another world lead and another area record for Cameron Myers, 3:46.06, clearly ahead of Yared Noguse with 3:46.31. Then more excellent marks, 3:46.97 by Ethan Strand, 3:47.38 by Hobbs Kessler, 3:47.39 by Timothy Cherouillot, 3:47.57 for Cole Hawker, and 3:47.76 for Robert Farken. 3,000 steeplechase in Paris, a bit of a surprise victory by Germany's Karl Bebendorf in 8:05.55, ahead of Ethiopia's Gamechu Godana with 8:05.86. 110 hurdles. Now, this has been a lot about Jamal Britt. He dropped to 12.86 in Eugene, moving to number 5 in the all-time list. He already had 12.89 in Paris. In Eugene, Jacoby Tharp, 12.91. 12.98 Jamal Britt in Zagreb on 26 June, ahead of Shunsuke Izumiya with 13 flat. The Japanese was just 100th slower in Paris. 13:01 also for Jamaica's Demario Prince in Eugene. 13:02 for Cuba's Kendry Menendez in Zagreb. and 13:06 for Trey Cunningham into a 0.8 headwind in the heats. Trey Cunningham then ran 13:07 in the final. Cordell Tinch also 13:07 in Eugene. Kendrick Smallwood 13:09 in the heats in Paris. And interesting, 13:10 by Belgium's Michael Obasuyi in Paris. Pole vault, as we saw, Mondo Duplantis was back at the top of the pole vault with 6 meters 13 in Paris. That's worth 1,303 points. Behind him, interesting improvement for France's Baptiste Thierry to 5 meters 9.3. And in Athens, at the Fly Athens organized by Manolo Caralis, 6 meters 91 for Chris Nielsen and Francis Thibault Collet, who had also jumped 5.88 in Montbonneau-Saint-Martin in France. Long jump, another excellent but windy mark by Zimbabwe's Tafadzwa Chikomba, 8 meters 52 with a 3.2 headwind on 5 July in Chula Vista. Triple jump, 17 meters 72 world lead for Andy Diaz Hernandez in Barletta on 3 July. That really improves. So far, he had jumped twice 17:59, so that's a good improvement for the Italian. In the shot put, as we saw, Leo Fabri regained the world lead with 22 meters 74. That's worth 1,285 points. Rajendra Campbell, 22:44 in Zagreb. Leo, 22:21 in Zagreb. And Rajendra, 22:16 in Eugene, with Jordan Geist, 21.98, third in Eugene. Discus throw, the return of Nicolas Alekna with 71 meters 06 in Eugene after surgery, 70 meters 32 for Christian Se in Zagreb, and 69.94 for the Slovenian in Eugene. Hammer throw, very good 83 meters 33 world lead for Canada's Ethan Katzberg on the first day of the pre-classic, and 2 marks for Pavel Fajdek, 82.09 in Tomblaine, and before, as we'd mentioned, in Zagreb, he had thrown 81.89. So that's it for the men. Let's now check the best women's marks of the fortnight. 100 meters, 10.78 for Melissa Jefferson Wooden in Eugene, just ahead of Sha'Carri Richardson, and with 10.79, and Adaja Hodge with 10.80. Adaja Hodge had also clocked 10.82 into a 0.2 headwind in the heats, and Sha'Carri 10.83 in the heats, also with the same headwind. They were in the same heat. 400 meters, the excellent 48.48 for Mary Lady Paulino in Paris, and well behind her, personal best for Czech Republic's young Lourdes Gloria Manuel with 49.37. 800 meters, 153.80 improvement for Audrey Werro, who strengthens her number 3 in the all-time list. That's the best mark of the fortnight with 1,276 points. Femke Broedersbol, big improvement to 155.60, though she doesn't accept the remark that she is learning the event. She continues to prefer to say that she's just a beginner. That helps her keep away the pressure. And just behind the Dutch star 155.65 for France's Anaïs Bourgoin, 156.10 as we saw for Daily Cooper Gaspar in Medellin, and 156.19 for Lilian Odira in Eugene. 1500 meters, good 355.63 for Georgia Hunter Bell in Paris, ahead of Freweyni Hailu, 355.92, and Agathe Guillemot, who improved to 356.24. 3000 steeplechase, Faith Cherotic was back to victory with 851.74 in Eugene, ahead of Winfred Yavi, 852.84, and Marwa Bouzayani, 854.32, and Doris Lemongole, 857.89. The Tunisian, as we said, moved to number 7 in the all-time list. Peros Chemutai, who had dominated so far, was fifth with 9:05.39. 100 hurdles, 12:24 for Masai Russell in Eugene. We mentioned 12:28 for Tobia Musan in Paris and 12.34 for the Nigerian in Eugene. And in Paris, that was a really fast race, 12:38 for Grace Stark, 12:39 for Tobia Musan in the heats, and 12:39 for Alicia Johnson, while in little behind, 12.41 for Nadine Fisser. In Eugene, 12.41 for Devin Charlton and Grace Stark, tied. 12:42 for Alicia Johnson, and in the heats in Paris and in Zagreb, into a slight headwind of -0.2, 12.43 for both Alicia Johnson and Raina Jones. Long jump, we mentioned 7 meters 13 for Tara Davis Woodhull and 7 meters 12 for Larissa Yapikino. In the triple jump, very good 15 meters 25 by Thea Lafond in Zagreb, world lead. Shot put, Chase Jackson, 20 meters 56 in Eugene, has been going strong this season, and another victory for a U.S. thrower at pre-classic, Valerie Zion, with 68 meters 84. Heptathlon, we mentioned Switzerland Annick Kaelin, improving her PB to 6,819 points to take her second heptathlon victory in Ratingen. So those were the top marks of the past fortnight, but what were the best performances so far this year? Now, given the outstanding marks registered by the men, we have decided to extend this list beyond the top 10 to include all marks equal to or above 1,300 points. So best men's performances of 2026, with one new entry from this fortnight and one just below, worth 1,299 points, are now the following. Pole vault 631 and 625 by Mondo Duplantis continue to top the list, followed by the 2 marathon marks by Sebastian Saue and Yomif Kejelcha in London. Then in the discus 74.04, Matthew Denny, 1,319 points. Cole Hawker's indoor area record is next. Discus throw 74.00 by Steve Richter in Ramona, 1,318 points. Pole vault indoors in Greece, 6 meters 17 by Emmanuel Caralis, that's 1,314. Josh Howie's world indoor record is worth 1,311, as is Matthew Denny's 73 meters 1:58 in Ramona. Then marathon Jacob Kiplimo was third in London in 2:00:28, and that's worth 1,309 points. Then Jacob Tharp's 110 hurdles world record. And finally, we have the new mark of 6:13 m by Mondo Duplantis, which is worth 1,303. Mondo also had 6:12 m. And then, call me chauvinistic, but I've added 2 marks which are worth 1,299. And that's Alison dos Santos over the 400 hurdles in Xiamen, and the windy mark by Marcell Jacobs in Eisenstadt. So very impressive performances by the men. Let's check now the women's results. And to be fair, we decided to also extend the list to the top 15 this time. So the best women's performances of the year, with 1 new entry from the fortnight in 8th place, are now Valerie Zion with 73 meters 10 remains top of the tops, worth 1,313 points. 10K mark by Agnes Jebet and Getichin Lil is worth 1,306. Marathon performance in Barcelona by Fotien Tesfaye is worth 1,303. Then we have the fabulous javelin mark by China's Yan Zhiyi in Xiamen, 1,296. 100 meters, Adasia Hodges world lead of 10.63 is worth 1,282. Then 2 10K marks, Brenda Jepchirchir and Likina Ameba. And in 8th, as we said, Audrey Werro with her 1:53.80 in Paris strengthens her number 3 in the all-time list. That's 1,276, as was the shot put mark by Jessica Schilder, discus mark by Jorinde van Klinken, 1:274, 200 meters by Adeja Hodge, also 1,274. Then we have the 81 meters 13 hammer throw in Austin, Texas by Cameron Rogers. The 800 meters world indoor record by Kili Hodgkinson in Liévin. Then another 10K mark, Caroline Makandi Gitonga in Castellón. And Audrey Werro with her 1:53.98 in Stockholm. So really excellent performances among the women as well. So under 20 and under 18 athletes also registered some great performances over the past fortnight. So starting with the 200 meters, the most spectacular of them all, of course, was in the 100 meters Eugene, where Tate Taylor ran 19.75 into a 0.9 headwind and moves to number 3 under 20 of all time behind Arion Knighton and Gout Gout. Now, Taylor had already run 19.94, 19.97, 20.05 this year. So really excellent improvement by the young college student. And the 3,000 steeplechase, Edmond Serem, a little bit slower in Paris than he had been in Rabat, 8 minutes 08:54. In the 100 hurdles, this has been a lot about Liezra Brown of the US, but Jeremy Koga, who was behind the American and had already run 13.40 in Hiroshima, repeated that mark in Totori on 5 July. In the long jump, another athlete who had performed very well in the this year, Shahnawaz Khan of India, he already had 8 meters 23, and he improved to 8 meters 30, which moves him to number =7 on the under 20 all-time list. And then there was a very interesting mark at the National Under-20 Championships in China, where the 4x100 meter relay by Fujian with Lin Zhongyang, Wang Weihao, Wu Chuanbin, and Lai Jinwang clocked 39.29. It's equal number 18 on the under-20 all-time list, but that a regional team from China should clock such a fast mark, I think is really interesting. Among the women, there were very good performances in the mile. Now, it's a bit dumb, but World Athletics only has indoor lists for the under-20 for the mile. So it's a bit difficult to place exactly where they stand, but 4 minutes 22.50 for Saron Berge in Eugene should be number 3. Elisabeth Amare in Nice on 13 June, 4:23.78 should also be in the top 5 of all time. And there was also a very good 4 meters 26.45 for Hanna Mekonin behind Elisabeth in Nice. Pole vault, new name, Czechia's Nikola Krutilova, 8 meters 52. That's number 17 equal of under 20 of all time. And in the 5,000, in the javelin throw, 67 meters 44 for Jan Gilly in Paris, far from her splendid number 2 of all time in Xiamen, but still a very good mark for an under 20 athlete. Then in the 5,000 meters race walk, 20:42.74 for Italy's Serena Di Fabio, moves to number 4 in the under 20 all-time list. And then in a mark which is really interesting, Switzerland under 20 clocked 43.32 in Fribourg with Mara Schwitter, Senia Buri, Milla Tonazzi, and Joy Umegbolu, moving to number 4 on the under 20 all-time list. And what is really interesting is that Switzerland boasts the 3 best marks this year, ahead of powerhouses like Jamaica and Germany. So that's it for the under 20s. Let's look now at the under 18s. Some marks are earlier than 23 June to 6 July, because often marks for these young athletes appear very late on the World Athletics list. So among the men, 2,000 meter steeplechase, 5 minutes 41.40 for Nino Eugster of Switzerland in Uster on 12 June, moves to number 12 on the under 18 all-time list. And behind him, Jonas Beuler, 5:42.15, moves to number 14, under 18 of all time. 400-meter hurdles. Now, this event had been mostly about Taiju Goto of Japan, but there's a very interesting result, which also appeared late on the World Athletics list by Miller Worm of the US, 49.28 at the US Under 20 Championships on 19 June. Among the women, 6 of the very best marks in the 1,500 meter belong to Haregweni Kalayu of Ethiopia, and she has a new one, 4 minutes 02.70 on 28 June in Paris. That's better than number 7 on the under 18 all-time list, but she already has number 4. In the 100 hurdles on the 76.2 centimeters height, 12.94 for Alessia Succo, who has been the star of this event this season on 28 June in Grosseto, That would be equal number 5, but she already has that number 2 equal. And an interesting mark for France's Anna Peters with 1307 in Aix-en-Provence, and moves to equal number 16 on her age category all-time list. Now on the senior height, there's an interesting mark by Japan's Saki Fujita on 19 June in Kanazawa, 13.20. Now, World Athletics does not have under 18 lists on the senior hurdles, but that was number 12 under 18 of all time. If you look at the under 20 marks and do some calculations on their age. And finally, in the pole vault, 4 meters 45 for France's Isilde Drouet, sorry for the spelling mistake, in Talence on 18 June, moves to number 7 equal on the under 18 all-time list, confirming that France has a really strong tradition in this event. So that's it for the athletics review and the top marks. And I'd like now to highlight some cool athletics news. Now, I find it very interesting that the International Olympic Committee, after pushing against prize money at the Olympic Games, has now approved a new Fit for the Future grant of $10,000 to support the sporting career and career transition of Olympians. So first athletes to benefit will be those who took part in the 2026 Winter Games Milano Cortina. And for athletics, they'll have to wait until Los Angeles 28. Congratulations also to U.S. collegiate athletes who really lit up the season with phenomenal performances. The USATF has nominated the finalists for the 2026 Bowerman Awards, which reward the top student athletes. Among the men, they are new 110 hurdles world record holder Jacoby Tharp, Nigeria's quarter miler Samuel Ogazi, and Eritrea's distance runner Habtom Samuel, who took both the 5 and 10,000 NCAA titles. I guess USATF wanted to diversify because I would have put Kalinsola Ajay among those three. And for the women, USATF chose in British Virgin Islands Adeja Hodge, who boasts the world lead at both 100 and 200, 400-meter runner Dejania Oakley, who clocked 2 sub-49 performances this season, and Sweden's Axelina Johansson, who reclaimed the NCAA shot put title she had first won in 2023. Now, Track and Field News has already decided, assigning its awards for Collegiate Athlete of the Year to Jacoby Tharp and Adeja Hodge. And honestly, that would seem the most logic choice. Congratulations also to Kirani James, the 2012 Olympic champion and 2011 world champion at 400, who will feature from next year on the new Eastern Caribbean $5 banknote, replacing Queen Elizabeth. Now, there's also sad news, unfortunately, as legendary Jamaican coach Stephen Francis passed away on 4 July, aged 64. The club he co-founded, MVP, which stands for Maximizing Velocity and Power, Track and Field Club, had announced on 30 June that he had been hospitalized, and unfortunately, Coach Francis did not recover. He had guided megastars Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price and Shericka Jackson, as well as former world record holder Asafa Powell, but also other top athletes like Elaine Thompson-Hera, Kashane Thompson, Michael Frater, Sharon Simpson, and twins Tia and Tina Clayton. He had been instrumental in proving that Jamaican athletes with Jamaican coaches, Jamaican facilities, and Jamaican management could be the best in the world. Fraser-Pryce, who under his guidance earned 3 Olympic golds, 2 individual, and 10 World Championship golds, 6 individual, led tributes to her coach and mentor, declaring on Instagram, "Today, Jamaica has lost more than one of its greatest athletics coaches. We have lost a visionary, a mentor, and a man whose influence transcends the track. He was not only my coach, but a steady source of guidance during some of the most defining moments of my career. Coach Francis helped shape an era that forever changed Jamaican athletics. Through his leadership, countless athletes rose to world and Olympic success, inspiring generations of young Jamaicans to believe that greatness could be achieved on Jamaican soil." Rest in peace, Coach Francis. So let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. 9 to 12 July is the Asian Under-23 Championships in Ordos in China. 10 July, Hercules meeting Diamond League in Monaco. 10 and 12 July, the Chapiewski Memorial Combined Events Tour Gold in Poland. 14 July, István Gyulai Memorial in Budapest. 16 to 19 July, European Under-18 Championships in Rieti in Italy. 18 July is the London Diamond League meet. 24 to 26 July is the National Championships weekend in many countries, and the USATF Outdoor Championships start a day earlier on 23 July in New York. Then 27 July to 1st August are the dates for athletics at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. 2 to 8 August, Central America and Caribbean Games, dates for athletics in Santo Domingo. 5 to 9 August, World Under-20 Championships in Eugene. 10 to 16 August, European Athletics Championships in Birmingham. Then we have the final stretch of Diamond League meets, 21 August in Lausanne, 3 days later in Chorzów, Silesia, 27 August Weltklasse in Zürich. 30 August to 3 September is also the Mediterranean Games in Taranto in Italy. 30 August Sydney Marathon, now a World Marathon Major. 4 and 5 September, the Memorial Van Damme Diamond League Finals in Brussels. And 11 to 13 September, the Ultimate Championships in Budapest. So with lots of championships coming up, first the last few Diamond League meetings, then after the Europeans, the tail end of the Diamond League, right up to the Ultimate Championships. The season is really rushing away very, very quickly, and great competitions will see splendid results, I'm sure. So we're now at the end of our program, and it was great to review together the fantastic athletics action from the past fortnight. Thank you all for watching. See you in 3 weeks on Love Athletics after the US and other national championships to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what has been happening in our sport over the past weeks. In the meantime, we'll be at the Monaco Diamond League on Friday, and we'll bring you interviews from the mix zone, and of course, the day before that, the athletes' press points. So see you soon. Take care. Ciao.